to the next point. We should ensure whatever we say is clear.
That means work is being done. We can see that it is in opposite direction.
Hello students, we're here once again for another lesson on economics. My name still remains Nehemiah Joshua. The topic that we'll consider today is production. Now, let's look at the concept of production, what it entails. Production can simply be defined as the various economics activities aimed at creation of goods and services and the distribution of these goods and services to the final consumer for the satisfaction of human wants. Now, production, in another way, it can be defined as the creation of goods and services for human satisfaction. The creation of goods and services to satisfy human wants. Now, this production that we are talking about, it classifies into various sections. But before we get into those sections, have this example of this production. We have television, goods that can be produced or goods that can be transformed into finished goods. Now, these production are made in such a way that it will satisfy the needs of the consumers. Without any production that will take place, if the sole aim is not for the satisfaction of consumers, then the producer is not doing anything. In that case, the production involves the creation of goods and services or utilities, just like I said. And utility is the ability of the goods to satisfy human want. Now, we have television set, we have cars, we have tables, and the rest of them, we regard them as tangible goods. We regard them as tangible goods. We equally have some services rendered by professionals. The services of a teacher, the services of a doctor, the service of a lawyer, a barber, hairdresser, and the rest of them. They are as well classified as production. Now, the next item, we have types of goods. These goods that we are talking about, we have tangible and intangible goods. Now, goods and services can be classified into two major categories. Number one, we have consumer goods. Number two, we have capital goods. Now, let's look at the concept of consumer goods. Consumer goods are goods and services that can satisfy the consumer's immediate need. And these goods do not require further process of production for their use by the consumers. Example of these consumer goods are, we have radio, we have television sets, motor cars, milk, then the services of a teacher, hairdresser, barber, nurse, lawyer, among others. Consumer goods can further be classified into two. These are durable goods and the non-durable goods. Now, the durable goods are simply refers to those goods that can stay long without getting spoiled. Those goods that can be used for a longer period of time before they can be able to run out. Now, example of these durable goods, we have television, set, radio, tables, shades, spoons, and the rest of them. These type of goods, you can use them for a longer period of time before this type of goods can phase out. Now, we have the non-durable goods. The non-durable goods are simply referring to the goods that cannot stay long without getting spoiled. Now, example of these goods, we have egg, we have bread, milk. This type of goods, you can use them at a spot. You can use them at a particular time. When you use them, when you peel egg, you are to consume it instantly. Unlike television, you use television day in, day out. You use radio day in, day out. tables, shades, and the rest of them. But the non-durable items are milk, bread, meat, and among others. Now, the second type of goods is the capital goods. Capital goods are goods used by people to produce some other commodities or services. Examples include motor cars, lorries, buildings, machines, among others. Now, these goods are used to carry productive activities. This capital good, like I said earlier, it can equally be physical money that we are using day in, day out. Now, we have types of production. The types of production, they are classified into three. The first one, we have the primary production, the secondary production, and the tertiary production. Let's discuss them one after the other. The primary production, it involves the extraction of raw materials or extraction of raw materials provided by nature, or the extraction of raw materials from the soil. Primary production forms the basis of production. For example, we have mining, we have farming, forestry, fishing, and the rest of them. They are examples of primary production. Number two, secondary production. The secondary production involves the transformation or conversion of raw materials into finished goods or finished product. Example of secondary production, we have the manufacturing and the construction industries. They are the industries we use to be able to transform these raw materials into finished goods, or to process these raw materials into finished goods. Number three, we have the tertiary production. Now, the tertiary production involves the provision of services to people. The goods produced by the primary and the secondary production are combined together or are distributed to people that need them. Now, people involved in this level of production include the wholesalers, the retailers, the transporters, among others. These are the types of production we have. The next item is factors of production. Now, the factors of production are equally classified into four. We have the first one is land, the second one is labor, the third one is capital, and the fourth one is entrepreneur. Now, let's look at the concept of land. Land as a factor of production is a free gift of nature. In economics, land does not only include the surface of the earth, that is, but all the free gift of nature or natural resources like forests, minerals, rivers, oceans, among others. Now, this land, the reward for it is called rent, because if you have a piece of land and you decided to use that piece of land to build a house, now, when you rent that house to people, those people staying in the house, they will be paying you some amount of money. It could be either on monthly basis or on yearly basis. Now, the amount of money that is being paid for the use of that house is what we call rent. That is the reward for land. Now, we have characteristics of land. Land is completely immobile. It does not move. It remains fixed. Land does not move. It remains fixed. That is why we term it as immobile. Number two, it is fixed in supply. Land is fixed in supply. Just like I said earlier, it does not move. The nature of land you see here, when you go to another place, it is still the same land. It doesn't change in supply. Number three, it is regarded as a free gift of nature. As I've said earlier, land, one of the quality or characteristic of land, it is a free gift of nature. The next item, number four, land is heterogeneous. It cannot be compared with anything. It is heterogeneous. These are some of the characteristics of land. Now let's move to labor as a factor of production. Labor is defined as all forms of human effort put into production process. Now labor can also be defined as man's mental effort put in order to produce goods and services. Just like I said, it is a man's mental effort and physical effort generated in the production process. The reward for this labor is called wages and salaries. Now, what is this labor, wages and salary? There are two different things. Wages is the amount of money paid to a worker as a result of work done. It could either be on monthly basis, it could either be on hourly basis, daily basis, or weekly basis. While salary is the amount of money paid to a worker on monthly basis. So there is difference between wages and salaries. Wages, like I said, it is paid on hourly basis, daily basis, or weekly basis. While salary, it is the amount of money paid to a worker on monthly basis. Now, we have the characteristics of labor. Characteristics of labor. Number one, it is mobile in nature. Labor is mobile in nature. Labor can move from one place to another. Labor can move from one geographical area to another. Now, what we refer to labor is, just like I said earlier, it is a man's mental effort, mental or physical effort that is being put by an individual to be able to produce goods and services. So in that case, it has the capacity to move from one place to another. Number two, it has feelings. Just like I said, it can move. It involves the use of strength. Therefore, it has feelings. It has the ability to express itself. The next one, it is skillful. Labor is skillful. That is why there is what we call skilled labor, semi-skilled labor, and unskilled labor. Now, the skilled labor simply refers to those that acquired formal training in order to put that training into production process. And anybody that specializes in the production of a particular commodity, then he specializes in that area. We term that as a skillful worker. But the semi-skilled worker are those that acquire little education in producing goods and services. Example, we have the clerks, we have messengers, and the rest of them. And the unskilled labor are those that acquire little or no education. Example, we have gardeners, we have cleaners, and the rest of them. These are some of the characteristics of labor we have. And another one, it requires motivation. Labor requires motivation. As long as you are motivating the workers that are into the production, when you are motivating them by giving them either incentives, it will encourage them to put more effort in the production process. And if that is done, it will enable production to be in large quantity. The next factor of production is capital. Capital as a factor of production may be defined as a man-made asset used in production of goods and services. In other words, capital can also be seen as a wealth that is set aside for the production of further wealth. Now, it means that capital, just like I said, it is a wealth that is set aside for the production of further wealth. If you have a machine or you have a motor vehicle, you can use that motor vehicle. It is a capital. You can as well use it to be getting another money. That is one example of capital. And we equally have a grinding machine. You can use grinding machine as a capital to get another capital, that is another money. These are examples of capital we have. We have machines, factory buildings, raw materials, motor vehicles, physical cash, and the rest of them. Now, the reward of capital is interest. The reward of capital is called interest. Capital, just like I said, it can be physical cash. Now, you can as well give it out to somebody in form of loan. And if on giving it out, the person that collected the loan is expected to pay it back with interest. Now, the money that has been added to the principal amount is what we call interest. That is one of the reward of capital. Now, we have the characteristics of capital. Characteristics of capital. Number one, it is man-made. Capital is man-made. Factor of production. Number two, it is durable. Capital is durable. Like I said, physical cash, money, is durable asset. You can keep it for a longer period of time. Now, we equally have machines, we have factory buildings, lorries, and the rest of them. They are type of goods that can stay for a longer period of time. We term them as durable asset. Number three, capital exists in different forms. It exists in different forms. We have buildings, we have physical cash, we have machines, we have motor cars, and the rest of them. They are example of capital. The next point, it promotes division of labor. As long as you have enough capital, enough money, you will employ more workers that will engage into the production process, and that will result to large-scale production. That is division of labor. If everyone take part or active part in the production process, it will result to large-scale production. The last point, it ensures large-scale production. I've said that earlier. These are some of the characteristics of capital. The next factor of production is entrepreneur. An entrepreneur can be defined as the factor of production that coordinates, organizes, and controls other factors of production in order to make maximum output at minimum cost. Like I said, an entrepreneur coordinates, controls all other factors of production, the land, labor, capital, to be able to produce goods and services. He coordinates them in such a way that he will maximize cost. Now, the reward for this entrepreneur is called profit. As an entrepreneur, you embark on business. In doing that business, the sole aim of an entrepreneur into a business is for him or her to make profit. Any business that an entrepreneur is getting or someone is getting into, if the sole aim is not for profit making, then we don't call it as business. So as an entrepreneur embarking on business, the sole aim is for profit making. That is the reward for an entrepreneur. Now, characteristics of an entrepreneur. Number one, risk bearer. Going into business as an entrepreneur, if there is any risk, you bear the risk alone. If there is any profit, you enjoy the profit. So an entrepreneur is a risk bearer. Number two, organization. As an entrepreneur, he organizes the business in such a way that he or she will be able to maximize profit. If there is any good organization in any business venture, the result will show there will be positive result. Number three, decision making. As an entrepreneur, he or she has the capacity to take decision himself or herself. Number four, controls other factors of production. Like I said earlier, an entrepreneur controls other factors of production, the land, the labor, and the capital, to be able to produce goods and services. Now, we have factors that determine the volume of production. Factors that determine the volume of production. We have so many of them, but we'll only consider a few. Number one, we have availability of raw materials. Availability of raw materials. Now, the raw materials available will determine the volume of production. The more the raw materials available, the more or the greater the volume of production. Just like I said, if you have the raw materials that will, the raw materials for production process, now it will increase the volume of production. But in in a case where the raw materials are not available, are not accessible, that will result to low level of production. But if the materials are available, it will as well, the result will tell by producing goods in large quantity. Number 2, the market size. The size of the market equally determines the level of production. The greater the demand for goods, the greater the volume of production. If the demand for goods and services is high, just like I said, the market will determine whether there is large market or small size of market. It determines the volume of production. Now, the next, number 3, capital. The amount of capital available to a producer determines the volume of production. The greater the amount of capital available, the higher the volume of production. Number 4, storage facilities. When storage facilities are available, you should be rest assured that goods can be stored in such storage facilities or warehouse, and that can result to large-scale production. Now, if you don't have storage facilities and you are into production, that will discourage you that can discourage the producer to produce goods in large quantity. But with the availability of storage facilities, it will enable the entrepreneur to produce goods in large quantity. Number 5, the level of technology. The use of modern technology do lead to high volume of production, unlike the use of local technology. The use of local technology will result to low level of production. But in a situation where there is modern machine that is being used in the production process, that can result to the high volume of production. These are some of the factors that can lead or that can determine the volume of production in an economy. Now, students, having discussed all the necessary things that is required under this topic, production, I have assignment for you that you will engage yourself, that can engage you at home, so that it will bring a positive learning. Number 1A, what is production? Number 1A, what is production? Number 1B, list 3 characteristics of land. List 3 characteristics of land. Number 2, explain the following with examples. Explain the following with examples. 1, primary production. Number 2, secondary production. And number 3, tertiary production. You are to explain them with examples. Number 3A, who is an entrepreneur? Who is an entrepreneur? Number 3B, mention 3 factors that determine the volume of production. You mention 3 factors that can determine the volume of production. Now, in the course of doing this assignment, you are expected to consult the following books as references. Number 1, Essential Economics for Senior Secondary Schools by C.E. Ande. Essential Economics for Senior Secondary Schools by C.E. Ande. Number 2, Fundamentals of Economics for Senior Secondary School by R.A.I. Anyawucha. Fundamentals of Economics for Senior Secondary Schools by R.A.I. Anyawucha. Now, in the course of engaging yourself in either doing the assignment or listening to the lesson, if there is any area that you are finding it difficult to understand, you can reach me through this number, 080-364-22966. The number again, 080-364-22966. My name remains Nehemiah Joshua. My name is Nehemiah Joshua. Now, students, ensure that you stay safe, keep learning, and make sure you observe the guidelines of the NCDC as regards COVID-19 because it is real. Good day, students. Thank you.